how to navigate today's business challenges.
Yes. If someone is coming to us and they really want to change behaviors, that's going to take some time. We want people to recognize what's going on inside of them.
Andora is a CEO of Willow Growth Partners, 25 years of experience in sales, in training.
So that's why we really focus on the introspective piece, because we want people to dig within. Everyone's different.
You encourage the mindset of the leaders that you work with to learn and to grow.
As a leader, it's not just about I am leading and it's top down. It's really about
Welcome back to Mastery Podcast, where we share stories of impact-driven entrepreneurs to create this ripple effect of positivity. I am your host, Dr. Sas, and today we have with us Andora Hinton. Welcome, Andora.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. Now, Andora is a CEO of Willow Growth Partners, and this Willow Growth Partner is a leadership development firm that helps organize enhanced communication and collaboration. And with over 25 years, oh my gosh, 25 years of experience in sales, in training, and management, Andora is known for her innovative program that transforms teams and drive growth. And she also a recognized thought leader. And recently, you just won the award. It's called the Thought Leader of the Year by WomELLE, right?
Yes.
Yes, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And you're here to share your insight on leadership, emotional intelligence, and how to navigate today's business challenges.
Yes.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good to have you here. And I know we talk back and forth a little bit, and nice to finally get to see you in person.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, Zoom, is not the same. Not the same as meeting in person,
That's
right?
very true. Yes, very true.
Yeah. And so tell us a little bit about how you work with your client and, the process that you walk them through when you are helping them with improving their internal communication and leadership.
Yes. So initially, when we work with clients, we love to take approach that we are more of an extension and not an outside vendor. We want to feel as though we are a part of the organization. And so every single time we talk to a client, we typically will talk to the initial stakeholder first, and then we ask to talk to some potential participants that will be in the session so that we can get an understanding from them on what they want to see in the training and also what challenges they are having, because there's a difference of what the stakeholder might see and what the actual participant might see. So we have found that to be very helpful, and it also really helps us to immerse ourselves in their culture so that our language is the language that they are using, so that we can use scenarios that are specifically catered to that particular organization. And that really works very well. And then after that, we focus on developing content because we do customized training. We focus on developing the content and then creating a really amazing experiential experience for our client.
Wow, nice. It sounds pretty comprehensive.
Yeah,
right?
Very comprehensive, yeah.
And normally when you go into a company and support them in that area, how long is your program?
Yeah, so it depends. We have worked with clients for 6 to 9 months, and then they hire us to come back again. And we have done retreats where it's to come in and we do a speaking engagement for 2 hours. But what our sweet spot is we enjoy working with clients for an extended period of time, because we recognize that if someone is coming to us and they really want to change behaviors, that's going to take some time. So we don't want to come in and just say, okay, we did this, it's done. But we really want to focus on helping people identify what are some specific goals that they're trying to accomplish so that they can really see positive change. Because that's what they really want is the change. They want to see that change.
Yeah. That's a good point. It's like a habit, right? Behavior. It you can't change it overnight.
Exactly.
That's like a company culture, the way they do things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Awesome. Great. Thank you for that. And your programs focus a lot on introspective, right?
Yeah.
And you also focus on vulnerability.
Yeah.
And with that said, what do you think? Why are those qualities important for leaders and for organization as a whole?
Those are my two favorite words. I'll go with the introspective piece first. Introspective because we want people to recognize what's going on inside of them. And people have things to say. They're likely thinking something and they may or may not say it. But if you can get in touch with something that's inside of you, whether it's from something from your past or it's something that's happening right now, you can find a way to figure out how to move forward. I mean, I can tell you, Dr. Sass, you need to do this, or this is something that you should focus on, but it's going to be more relevant and also touch you a little bit more if you decide it for yourself. So that's why we really focus on the introspective piece, because we want people to dig within. Everyone's different. They're going to have a different experience. The vulnerability piece, it's hard for people. People struggle with vulnerability. I'm a huge Brené Brown fan, and she talks a lot about vulnerability. And we believe that vulnerability really is very powerful. It's powerful, especially as a leader, to say, I'm sorry, I was supposed to be here at 9, but I couldn't make it because I had to drop off my child. Or I don't know the answer to that, but I'll find it for you. That vulnerability, sometimes we are afraid that it's going to make us look as though we don't know what we're talking about or a little bit less competent. But what it does is it shows that we're really human. No one is perfect. And people need to see that. And vulnerability also helps to build trust. That if someone is vulnerable with you, they can open up about something that is very personal to them. And they can say, I totally messed this up, but I'm going to do better next time. That helps me to see that I can trust you because you're telling me a part of you that is probably hard. So that's why we love talking about those two things so much, because it really helps to build trust.
Absolutely. And also people can relate with you because you're not like this perfect human being that like cannot do any wrong and know everything, right?
Exactly.
Nobody is like that. Yeah.
No one. No, even if someone appears to have everything all together, there's still some pieces that may not always go the way that you anticipated to. So no one is perfect.
Yeah, and that, I mean, I'm just speaking from experience too. When I become the leader for the first time, I joined the Air Force, got thrown in the fire, and it's like, either you swim or you sink.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking back as the new leader that I thought I had to know everything.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that, I can't just say, I don't know. Stuff like that. A lot of leaders thought that they have to be like that. Yeah. But that's great that you bring that out and said, hey, be human.
Exactly. And what's interesting, Dr. Sass, is that when we often talk about vulnerability, and most people, if I say, how many of you are comfortable being vulnerable? And many people won't raise their hands. But I can guarantee you that during our time together, people are going to be vulnerable. Yeah. Because I also think that people don't completely understand what that term really means. It doesn't always have to mean that you're saying something so vulnerable that it's like, I'm crying or I'm getting upset or that I'm having to be embarrassed in some way about something I'm sharing. It's really about sharing about a part of who you are. Right. And so many of our participants start to be vulnerable. And it's such a beautiful thing to watch because the people who raised their hand and said, oh, I hate being vulnerable, are vulnerable. And so we love that.
Yeah. And they start connecting with each other even more on a deeper level.
Exactly.
Awesome. Thank you. Can you share a success story? I know you work with different organizations, different sizes of organization, right? Can you share one success story that, you go in, your company go in, and it really transformed the way they communicate, the way they lead, and the company culture?
Yes. So I had a client who they make security doors, and I did some training with them a few years ago, and it was a group of probably about 20, 25 leaders. And this was such an amazing, I mean, it was a group that I will never forget. I mean, all of my sessions are always so awesome. But this particular group, they had not had a lot of leadership development training. They were all leaders of people. And some of the things that they were struggling with were things like vulnerability, emotional intelligence. They also were focused on identifying what their true strengths were to help their people grow. And then they also were focused on struggling with communicating with their direct reports and also with each other. And that's one of the things that we really focus on is interpersonal workplace communication and cross-functional collaboration. And so we worked with them we were with them for about 9 months, and we gave them a lot of tools and resources. And we saw how they transformed from feeling a little bit closed in and guarded with sharing certain things with their peers and their direct reports to being more open, and then being more open to having difficult conversations, being more open to having boundaries and setting boundaries for themselves as leaders. And I love it when I talk to our client years later, because that was probably about 3 or 4 years ago now, and how she tells me we have a program called Audacity to Communicate. And I bought them some T-shirts in our last session. And it's so funny. She said they will be in meetings saying that we need to have audacity to communicate. So those terms that we had, we saw them make a transformation of not being able to be open enough to communicate as effectively to really opening up and feeling more comfortable and confident, which is one of the key things, more confident in their ability to communicate more effectively with their peers and their direct reports.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, I also was in, different companies, and I've seen some of those, and people are so closed up and they're afraid to share, and it end up, you setting this, it's them versus us kind of thing, and it's not good. And I believe what you're doing is awesome.
Thank you.
Every company out there needs it, and it's like, corporate or, any companies, right? If you're not an entrepreneur working at home by yourself, you always had this politics going on, and it had been, I guess, always been like that, and people. It kind of have a bad name, right? The companies kind of have a bad name. It's the boss, it's the manager, is that team against this team, and we need to come together and work together and see each other as human. Like people go to work to not to have conflict.
Right.
And we spend most of our time at work.
Exactly. So we shouldn't be having conflict.
Right.
But it does happen. It does happen.
Yeah. That's why we need people like you, like Willow North. And do you, as a company, I know you're located in North Carolina. Do you serve any area in?
Yes. We actually, I feel like I'm not new anymore, but I moved to North Carolina almost 8 years ago now. And when I first moved here, we didn't have any clients in North Carolina. So most of our clients were either Midwest or East Coast. So mostly in the northern part of the East Coast. So we have thankfully been able to get many new clients here in the North Carolina area. But we have done, some of our clients are international. So we have some international presence as well. So we are all over. I hope. We are all over the United States. We have done some work on the West Coast as well, but a majority is Midwest and the East Coast.
And you would travel to the location?
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I'm glad I asked you that question. So you were, and Andora, you were recently honored as a thought leader of the year, right? What do you think are the most important qualities that emerging leaders should focus on and developing in today's age, like 2024? I mean, 2025 is around the corner, and things are changing, right? What are the top, like, 1 or 2 qualities that you think emerging leaders should develop?
Yes. So another one of my favorite words is collaborative. To me, collaborative, and I'll share why in just a moment. And then the second thing is being empathetic or practicing some of those emotional intelligence skills. What we have seen over time is that since the pandemic, where people are now more open with sharing how they're really feeling inside, that it's important for leaders to recognize how to be a little bit more assertive, have some empathy or develop that skill of being empathetic, focus on how to manage their own stress. So some of those emotional intelligence characteristics are really, really important. And then the collaboration piece is important because as a leader, it's not just about I am leading and it's top down. It's really about how do I bring my team together as one so that we can be even stronger by asking for people's feedback. I have an idea. What do you think about that? Or getting people to be a little bit more involved in the decision making just really helps for people to feel more included within their team. And it also starts to create a collaborative culture, which is really, really important so people don't feel like they're in silos.
Nice. Thank you for that. And emerging leaders. And if you're a leader now, manager, please take this advice from Andora. That's great advice, Andora. And actually, you just answered my next question. And you've often mentioned, and I did some research on you. You mentioned the importance of learning a lot. You're a lifelong learner.
Yes.
And how do you encourage the mindset of the leaders that you work with to learn and to grow? How do you do that?
Oh, so I just had a conversation with a group of leaders last week. I had them do an activity where they moved around the room. And one of the questions that I asked them was, how well do you focus on your own self-development? And I had a do it really well, not so well, and I am working on it. And so there were a lot of people who were in the area of not doing it so well. Mm-hmm. And I think it's because a lot of leaders want to give. They want to give, they want to help, they want to support their people and really anybody, even their peers. Mm-hmm. And so it doesn't leave a lot of time for themselves. So we really encourage people to think about what is something that you could do to add on to something that you're already doing. So for example, if you're in the car and you're driving, you have a little bit of a commute, perhaps you could listen to a podcast. Could you potentially, I know for me, sometimes when I'm walking, I'll listen to a book as I'm walking. So if you could add on something else, learning from others. I mean, that's one of my key things is talking to people so that I can learn from them. So even talking to people helps you to learn, but just finding different ways, finding some type of book that maybe has a 365 days. So it's like something I can read once a day for 2 or 3 minutes. But it's so important to focus on self-development and growing and learning because we don't want to stay. I just learned this thing around the comfort paradox, mm-hmm. where we feel so safe in our comfort zone. And so if we don't focus on growing, as the world changes, we get left behind. We start to feel stagnant. We start to feel as though that comfort zone is so safe that I don't want to get out of it. So learning helps to challenge us, which means that we're going to continue to grow. So I'm often encouraging people, that's where that introspective piece comes from, is to think about what do you need to do differently tomorrow than you do today so that you can continue to focus on your growth.
Yeah, talking about, the micro growth, right? Have you heard of this book? It's called The Atomic Habits.
Yes, I've read it twice.
You read it twice?
Yes.
I'm a big fan. Book.
It is a really good book. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's basically what it is. As a leader, anybody who's working parents, working mom, working father, you like having to wear many hats and doing many things.
Yeah.
And time is like, we all have 24 hours a day. So carving that, like 10 minutes in the call, 20 minutes here, 5 minutes there, it all adds up.
Yes,
and that's what the atomic habit is about.
Yes.
Right? So you kind of just work that into your habit to continue personal growth.
Yeah.
That's going to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Cool. And talking about getting left behind, I have some question I want to ask you. With AI,
Yes.
and technology changing the workplace, how do you incorporate this advancement into leadership and communication?
Yes. So I have to tell you, Dr. Sass, when AI came about, I was afraid of it. I didn't really understand it. I didn't really know what this would do for our future as a business.
Yeah.
And so I didn't use it. Like ChatGPT came out, and I think I went to it once, and then I was like, I don't want to use it. I don't understand it. It's a little scary to me.
Yeah.
But then I was working with one of my colleagues, and we were working on a project together. And she said, well, let's go to ChatGPT and just see, what ChatGPT says. We were looking for some titles for something.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow. And I saw it in a different light. And so I believe that AI can definitely help us to be more productive. I feel like AI has also helped me to become smarter. I have learned a lot just from getting ideas. I'll put something in ChatGPT, and then it will help me it'll ignite another idea that I hadn't even thought of. Just from it's like, oh, I hadn't thought about that, and then it takes me somewhere else.
Yeah.
So I really think that it helps me to become more productive. I think it will help people become more productive, especially on the sales side. If you're looking for something to send an email, just put it in ChatGPT. It'll have it in like 3 seconds.
Right.
You don't have to sit and think, all about this.
Right.
We certainly, from a training perspective, it's important for us to put our own elements in. But it certainly helps with giving ideas for titles or creating activities or, something that is not as advanced as something where training content, we're going to write training content. That's going to come from our brain. But a title, we could certainly, my title might be good. AI might make it better. So we use AI to help to elevate some of the things that we're already doing without losing the personal and genuine touch that we offer as facilitators and as content writers.
Yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree. A lot of people said, oh, AI going to take over. It's not true.
Yes.
It's like 30 years ago, right, when we have you got mail.
I know, yeah.
A lot of people were so afraid of, the internet and stuff like that. And guess where we're at now?
No.
If we didn't embrace it back then, we will literally be
Yes.
eating the dust.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, now you can't get away from it.
No.
It is literally everywhere. Yeah. And I believe that its value is very valuable. It's just to be able to use it in a smart way.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for kind of agreeing with me in that.
Yes. Yes, I'm a fan.
Yeah, me too.
Now I'm a fan. I wasn't before, but now I am.
Look, ChatGPT have an app on the phone, and you can talk to it. And what I use it for, Andora, is to organize my thought. I was just rambling out a bunch of ideas, and I go, okay, organize this for me. Give it to me in a bullet point.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's all your stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, it just assists you to become faster.
Exactly. I certainly have gotten more done by having AI as an assistant, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Personal assistant.
Yes, like a personal assistant.
Yeah. So, and we are heading into a season where companies, this is toward the end of the year where we have our conversation right now, and the company are reflecting their, whatever they do the whole year and looking toward the next year, the challenges they have, what should they do different, what kind of reflection exercises do you recommend for the companies to do?
Yeah, so we typically have a reflection of looking at yourself and saying something like, I worked on a project, or I had a difficult conversation with someone. What did I do well in that situation? Where did I get stuck in that situation? And what could I have done better? And then what can I do better next time? So it's just 3 easy questions that you might ask yourself just so you can figure out how to do something differently the next time.
Okay. What are the 3 questions again? The first one?
What did you do well? What did I do well?
What did I do well?
Where did I get stuck?
Where did I get stuck?
And what would I do differently next time?
And what would I do differently next time?
3 very easy questions. We've used it in several different trainings. Someone actually taught that to me.
Yeah.
And we use it now all the time because it's a great way to reflect so that you can figure out how to continue to move forward and not stay in the same place that you were in.
Yeah. And you can actually use this in all areas of your life. It's not just work.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you can also use it with other people too, especially if you're a leader and you're trying to get them to share feedback.
Awesome. Great. Thank you for that insight, Andora.
Yeah.
I'm going to use those 3.
Oh, yeah.
3 words or 3 questions. And I think we running out of time here. It's like I can talk to you all the time. Thank you so much for your insight and for being an inspiration for many women out there. That's what Mastery Podcast is about. We love having guests who are impact driven, who are career driven, and who are out there to create positivity in the world. And thank you so much for what you do.
Yes, thank you
for being here.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
Thank you. And thank you, our audience, for tuning in. And if you like this episode, please share, like, subscribe, and we see you again in the next episode. Bye for now.